Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. I know. I've been away for just a smidge of time. Things have been just crazy busy at the moment, but we are back. We're back talking about pro wrestling. We're back talking about the news of pro wrestling. And I know this was a story that was I'm late to everything at this point, but I did want to talk about the Ring of Honor stuff from last week as well, because I do have some thoughts on it, and I'm still just kind of catching up with the world of pro wrestling. I've been a little bit out of the bubble, shall we say, the last sort of 10 days or so, but sometimes it's not actually a bad thing either, just to have a bit of a step back, reevaluate things. We're going to get back to the pro wrestling news. Obviously, with so much going on at the moment, I've had to sort of restructure things, so maybe we might not have the videos go like 20 minutes. It might be 15 or 10 minutes or something like that. But we're still going to get back up to the normal streaming schedule and all that kind of stuff. The only difficult thing I have noticed, by the way, and I will talk about Ring of Honor in a second, the difficult thing I found is that pro wrestling is just this treadmill. It's this machine that just keeps going and going and going and going. And if you step off that treadmill for 10 days, however long it's been, it is so hard to get back on it, in the sense that you just have so much to catch up to, especially in the world of news, right? It's very difficult to be like, today, bang, we're going to get right back onto the news, because it evolves and changes so quickly. It's quite difficult to catch up on. So I know, like I said, super late when it comes to the Ring of Honor stuff, but I did want to talk about it because, of course, it's massive. It's not the end of Ring of Honor, because they are coming back next year, but it's the end of Ring of Honor as we know it. That's the important thing to point out there. It is the end of Ring of Honor as we know it, because Ring of Honor last week they did release multiple wrestlers following an announcement on the company changing their business plan. Now, Ring of Honor announced that they are going on a hiatus during the first quarter of 2022. The final Battle pay-per-view in December will be their final show until they return in April 2022 for the Supercard of Honor event. Now, it was noted that during this time, they plan to reimagine the company and return with a more fan-focused product. They don't say what that fan-focused product is, but they're returning with something different. Now, Dave Meltzer was first to report that Ring of Honor released everyone from their contracts. Now, PW Insider then added that multiple wrestlers who were on a Ring of Honor company Zoom call were informed that if their contracts were expiring at the end of the year, they will not be renewed. The wrestlers would then become free agents. Wrestlers who have contracts that go beyond January 1st will remain under contract for at least a certain period of time. It's rumored to be March 2022 and or April 2022. It was then noted by Brian Alvarez that wrestlers are free to work anywhere they want immediately, despite their Ring of Honor contract status. Ultimately, it's going to be a financial issue, I think. If these free agents get an offer from a WWE or an AEW, essentially they can show up whenever they want, wherever they want, because Ring of Honor wants them to void those contracts, essentially. If a pro wrestler, say, a Danhausen, gets a contract offer from AEW and he says, AEW want me, I'm going to sign a contract with them, I'm willing to void my Ring of Honor contract, at this point, Ring of Honor are thinking money. And if they can stop a big contract, they'll be willing to do it at this point. Now, Ring of Honor is still scheduled to tape episodes of their weekly ROH TV series in Baltimore, and as noted before, the December 11 Final Battle pay-per-view is still on for the UMBC Event Center in Baltimore. Now, it was noted by PW Insider that Final Battle will very much be an endpoint chapter in Ring of Honor history, because whatever they end up being after the hiatus will be a very different product. Now, Ring of Honor reportedly still has a venue locked in for WrestleMania 38 weekend in Dallas next year, which would be the announced Supercard of Honor event that was mentioned for their return from hiatus in April 2022. So it's very interesting, and obviously there was rumors coming out as well, and I think these have kind of been proven to not be accurate, that the Ring of Honor tape library was up for sale as well. That's since been said, no, that's not necessarily true. It was very shocking, obviously. It was very, very shocking, and I don't think many people saw it coming. I do feel for Ring of Honor in the sense that they were one of the companies that did actually handle the pandemic in arguably the best way, in that they shut down and they didn't do any events for a while. They said, look, if we can't do it safely, we're not going to do it. They put in very specific plans and strategies in place to make sure that when they did start running television tapings again, etc., they wanted to do it in the safest way possible. But they were kind of operating on borrowed time at that point, because with any company, let alone a pro wrestling company, which very few pro wrestling companies make a profit, with any pro wrestling company, even a company that's backed by Sinclair Broadcasting like they are, shutting down for such a long period of time, it just means a ton of revenue they've missed. And I don't think they were ever going to be able to catch up with that. And I think they realized that. And them operating as a company whereby they've got people under exclusive contracts and all that kind of stuff, they realize we just can't do that anymore. And it is a shame, because Ring of Honor has this great history and they have these great matches in the past and they have created these amazing pro wrestlers. But I think the model that they've operated on in the past, they realized we just can't do it anymore. We just can't. The days of them having wrestlers exclusively under contract, they're done. And the pandemic has sped that up. Even with companies that still do that, it's only WWE that doesn't really play with others anymore. Every company, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, AEW, they've all got these working relationships with other companies. Now, Ring of Honor does have that, or did have that, but even that I don't think was enough to save them ultimately. So it's not a case of ROH is going to never exist again and they're like WCW or ECW and they go to the scrap pile. No, ROH is coming back next year. Just the version that we know of Ring of Honor is done. And there's a lot of people, I think, that are very curious as to what is going to come back next year. Because again, they've released all the wrestlers. Essentially, Ring of Honor is going to become like a PWG. I think that's their game plan, is to become like a PWG, in that they don't have people under contracts. But what they'll do is they'll have these events that they'll book people for. They just become almost like an established independent promotion, in the sense that exclusive contracts are a thing of the past. They will book people for events, for television, if they still continue to do television. Or they'll book people for big pay-per-views, but they won't have people under exclusive contracts anymore. They'll try and book people that are on the independent scene. They'll try and book people that are in AEW, that are in Impact Wrestling, that are in New Japan Pro Wrestling, all that kind of stuff. But the days of being like they are a contracted Ring of Honor talent, they're done. They're done. That just isn't going to exist anymore. So they kind of are going to try, I guess, to become a premier independent promotion. And it is sad. And again, I do have sympathy for them, because basically the way they handled the pandemic, which in my opinion, well, I was going to say it was the right way. Ultimately, they're having to change their business plan. So maybe it wasn't the right way. I don't know. It just goes to show, isn't it, that morality doesn't really get you anywhere. In business, it's so cutthroat, and those companies like WWE, like AEW, like Impact Wrestling, that just carried on throughout the pandemic, when maybe, safety was a difficult thing to do or difficult thing to persist with, they're the ones that are surviving. Now, I don't know if Impact Wrestling is, thriving at the moment, but certainly WWE and AEW are, and they carried on throughout the pandemic. Ring of Honor made the decision to stop, and it's negatively affected them to the point they're having to change their entire business model, and Ring of Honor as we know it isn't going to exist anymore. A new version of Ring of Honor, ROH 2.0, like NXT 2.0, I don't know, is going to come back next year. And it is disappointing and it is sad, but to be honest with you, even when Ring of Honor came back, they've just had no momentum at all. I hardly profess myself to be a Ring of Honor expert. There's so much pro wrestling to watch, and with the other outside projects I have at the moment, it's difficult just to consume, WWE, AEW, and Impact, let alone Ring of Honor, let alone MLW, NWA, New Japan. It's tough. It really is tough to consume all of that, and Ring of Honor just has, like I said, has no momentum. Absolutely zero momentum, and they haven't. The TV shows haven't been creating buzz. The pay-per-views haven't been creating buzz. They had a decent roster, but anyone worth their salt now, being a free agent, will be picked up by WWE, AEW, or Impact. Obviously, I know there are people, and rightfully so, would be concerned about what their future lies. There will be people on the Ring of Honor roster that, if anything, might actually benefit off this, because they will go to an AEW, they will go to an Impact, they will go to a WWE. I'm more concerned about the employees of Ring of Honor, in the sense that the people that do help out and at the tapings in terms of production, lighting, all that kind of stuff. Those are the people I worried about, because there are a finite amount of positions in pro wrestling. We saw that when WCW went out of business, right? When WCW went out of business, the pro wrestlers themselves, obviously there was less places to go, but they could still go to other places. It was more the corporate side of things. And again, there's people that help set up the ring or help do, like I said, lighting, production, all that kind of stuff. They didn't have a job to go to. because WWE had their own. So how, some people did go over, but a lot of people didn't. And I worry about those people. Now, hopefully they will be fine. Like I said, Ring of Honor is coming back, but will they be running as many shows? Will they be doing as many TVs? All that kind of stuff. It's a massive unknown at the moment. And sometimes that's the problem with unknowns, isn't it? Is that you have no idea what to expect. And it's scary. It's very scary. So it was very shocking news. Obviously, there's a ton of talent that, like I said, will do well. And I'm excited to see your Danhausen's in AEW, which I think he'll go. I'm excited to see where the Briscoes go and Jay Lethal, etc. So Jonathan Gresham. There's plenty of names that I'm excited to see, and I think a lot of people with the demise of this version of Ring of Honor have been interested to see what the next chapter is, not just with Ring of Honor, but also with the talent as well. So it was a shocking story. It's something we'll hear a lot about in the future, I'm sure, once these talents start doing interviews about the Zoom calls and about the final days of Ring of Honor. We'll hear more about it. As of right now, again, we don't know much more. Like I said, that story coming out about the tape library, I think, was debunked. But maybe that could happen in the future. Look, the Ring of Honor tape library is incredibly extensive, right? It goes back all the way to 2002. It's got some phenomenal matches on it. Arguably, that's the most valuable thing. Well, it's not arguably. It is the most valuable thing that ROH has, is their tape library. You've got matches like a CM Punk versus Eddie Guerrero, or Punk versus Danielson, or Joe versus Punk, or Joe versus Danielson, or Kenta versus Danielson. I mean, the list goes on and on and on, doesn't it? Of the amazing matches they've had throughout the years. So Steen, Generico, etc., etc. It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. So that would be the most valuable thing. But I don't know if Ring of Honor are willing to give that up. Maybe that's been the most profitable thing at the moment, is having their tape library and having they have Fight TV, they have Honor Club, or they've got their own part of a streaming service, I guess, that people can access the matches. Maybe that's been the most profitable thing for them throughout the entire pandemic. And but just not to say that they wouldn't accept an offer if they didn't get it. So before I do wrap it up, I do want to read out the statement that Ring of Honor put out last week, because, again, I think it's interesting. So they put this out on October 27th, and they said, quote, "Throughout the pandemic, our top priority was to keep everyone healthy and safe. And despite not producing any live events for over 18 months, we were able to keep everyone fully contracted. We now find ourselves at a time where we need to make changes to our business operations and are planning to pivot for Ring of Honor with a new mission and strategy. The year will culminate with a final battle in December, and we will be taking the first quarter of 2022 to work internally to reimagine ROH. ROH has the most dedicated fans in the industry, and we appreciate their loyalty and patience as we reconceptualize Ring of Honor. We anticipate returning to live events in April for the Supercard of Honor with a new fan-focused product and provide a unique experience for wrestling fans." Now, again, they say they anticipate, but who knows at this point? And I don't think they know as well. Again, we don't know what their plans are. I would suspect it's something to becoming like an elite indie brand, in the sense that nobody's contracted. And maybe eventually they will go back to this model. If they can grow, if they can get some momentum. That's the problem, though. With the rise of AEW, shall we say, it has absolutely hurt Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor, it's gone through waves throughout its lifetime, in that they go through time of having buzz. But remember, Ring of Honor, it was part of the sellout in MSG, right? In 2018, 2019, beginning of 2019, for that supercard they had with New Japan Pro Wrestling. That was Madison Square Garden. Ring of Honor was involved in that. Arguably, the Ring of Honor part of it sucked. And also, look, that event sold out because of the promotion of the Elite, Omega, and the Bucks. And, of course, they didn't appear because they were eventually signed to AEW. And, the Bucks and Kenny Omega appearing, and Cody Rhodes and Hangman Page and all that kind of stuff was huge for Ring of Honor at the time. And it did feel like maybe they were progressing there. And then once AEW came along, it just took to another level. Remember, All In, I think the rights to the footage of that actually belonged to Ring of Honor, because it was actually an ROH-produced event along with New Japan as well. So it's a fascinating story that I think will be told as time goes on. But it is a sad one, because, again, Ring of Honor, as we know it, is changing, and it's fascinating to see what will happen when it does come back. But look, guys, as always, this is just one man's opinion. What are your thoughts on the Ring of Honor story last week? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'll do my best to respond and reply to all of your comments. Really enjoy interacting with you guys, talking about WWE, AEW, Impact Wrestling, New Japan Pro Wrestling, all things pro wrestling here on the channel. So be sure to get involved in the community, drop a comment below. All opinions are welcome. If you have enjoyed this video, please do smash a like on the like button too. It really does help us out here on YouTube, get the rankings, and get to people's recommendation feeds if they haven't seen our videos previously. But most importantly, if you haven't already, please do subscribe to Wrestling News 365. You can do that by clicking the bottom right-hand corner of the screen right now, or if you wait a few seconds, there'll be a subscribe button at the end of this video, along with another video for you to watch. Thank you very much for watching, listening, streaming, or have you come across this video today, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.